Hey students, it's Mr. Kramer back again with a new video. Today I'm going to start my very first drawing in my drawing series, Mr. Dan the Art Man. Now I'm really excited to bring this new opportunity to you, and I hope that you're tuning in, and I hope you enjoy this. So today what we're going to be doing is we're just going to draw. We're going to go ahead and do a drawing of a fish, actually a very specific, a very special type of fish called the koi fish. Now the koi fish, actually I have a drawing that I did of a koi fish here that I'd like to show you. This is a drawing that I did, and you might notice some different writing on here. You might notice this area right here. This is actually a word written in the Japanese language. That's what this is called. This is actually called Japanese kanji. Now the koi fish is actually is from Japan as well. You know, it is a Japanese fish and it originates from Japan, and it is a very special fish in Japan. They actually breed these fish for their beautiful colors. They have koi that come in all sorts of different colors. Some kois are red, some are yellow, some are orange, some have black. They come in all sorts of different colors, and they are bred. They breed them for their coloring pattern, and you get some really pretty koi. One thing about koi that make them so interesting is they have these great big giant scales that are fun to draw, and that you can color really easily too, and it makes your drawing look really cool. So today what we're going to do is we're going to draw a little koi fish. So I'm going to show you how to do this. Let's go ahead and get to the drawing table here. So find yourself a flat surface. I want you to find yourself a flat surface and get yourself a piece of paper and a pencil. That's all you need right now, just a paper, pencil. Maybe an eraser would be nice to have if you have an eraser. I have a pink eraser that I use. Later we might need a marker. Okay, we might need a marker, and we might need an assortment of colors a little bit later too. So if you want to get those things ready now, you can pause the video and go ahead and grab those things. Once you have those things ready, we're going to go ahead and start our drawing. So anytime I'm working, I always try to have a nice flat space. I always try to keep my work clean. I don't want my pizza sitting right next to here, okay, because I don't want to get any pizza sauce on my beautiful drawing. Okay, so make sure you have a nice clean area. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to start here. I'm going to go ahead and draw a fish. Now, when I draw things, I like to break them down into simple, easy things to draw. So like a fish shape is a pretty complex shape. But if I break that fish into a couple different pieces, it's a couple like really easy pieces. So for the body of my fish, all I'm going to do is I'm going to do a nice big oval. Now I'm going to work real big because I want a really big koi. I want it to be really big, and I'm going to do a nice big fat oval here, okay, something like this. And if you look, my line is kind of like a little bit flatter at the bottom. The top is a little bit more round. Now, when you're drawing this, draw really lightly. Draw really lightly. You don't want to draw real hard, because if you make mistakes, if you try to erase it, you'll end up seeing the lines. I call those ghost lines. We want to try to get rid of our ghost lines. Now once you have your oval done, I'm going to go ahead and draw a line here. This is where my head is going to be, and this is where the body of my fish is going to be. Then we're going to add a tail on here. And you could do any kind of tail you want. You know, koi all look very different. I'm just going to do two little lines like that and a line like this. Okay, so a little tail like that. Now, all fish, I guess maybe not all fish, but most fish have a top little fin, so I just did kind of like a little line here. I made my fin on the top kind of sharp like this. And I'm even going to come down here and I'm going to add kind of this shape here, kind of like a backwards J. I'm going to do that for my arm fin. And I guess if you want, you can kind of connect it here. Actually, I want to do something a little bit different there. I'm just going to take this line, just continue right here. Now we need to add a few more details. I'm going to add the eye, so it's just basically a circle inside of a circle, and then I'm going to go ahead and put a nice little smile on my koi. Now in this project we're not going for realism, we're just doing a fun little koi. So a real koi might have, you know, they have like their lips are a little flatter and their head is shaped a little bit different, their body is a little bit different. But we're just having fun here. We talked about the story in class called Ish, that it's okay to create ish art that maybe doesn't look exactly right, but it looks ish. So it's always okay to create ish art. Now, I went ahead and I created this like bumpy line pattern here. See how it's just like the same type of line over and over and over and over again? It's almost like I'm writing 3 and then I'm writing 3 again. And then, well, obviously I ran out of space, so I just kind of stopped. Now, you're going to do that. You're going to do a nice little bumpy line like this, and then you're going to do another bumpy line. And what I like to do is I like to start in the middle of the top bump like this, and then I'll go ahead and do and I'll go to the middle of my next bump, and I'll just do a nice little bumpy line. And then I can come in here, maybe start from here and just finish my bump going the other way. So I'm going to go ahead, and this part really takes some time. Take your time and put these bumps in. All right, now that you have your scales all drawn into place, I'm going to go ahead and outline this. I think that artwork that is outlined looks a little bit more dynamic. It looks a little more, little bit nicer. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a little bit of time here, and I'm going to outline everything. This all outlined, we're going to go ahead and add some color. Now for this project I'm going to use marker, and you can use any kind of marker, but if you can use any colors you want. If you want to use watercolors, you could use watercolors to color this in. So watercolors is a good option. Crayons, colored pencils, oil pastels, you could use anything. But I'm going to use markers, and I actually have this really cool kit. It's just a it has some illustration markers in it, and it has a bunch of different colors. So I'll be using these. These are alcohol-based markers. So if you're ever trying to like create a really cool drawing with very vivid colors, an alcohol-based marker will work. And you can actually get a little set at I think they sell it at like Walmart, and they sell them on Amazon and things like that. And they're alcohol-based markers. You can get a set for like $10. So it comes with like maybe 10, 12 colors. The set I have here has 100. And this set probably costs like, I don't know, maybe $40 or $50. So it's not too bad when you consider all the different colors you get. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start coloring in my scales here. Oh, one thing I forgot to do. After I outlined, I see some pencil lines here still. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly just go over this with an eraser, and I'm going to erase these pencil lines. That's one of those little details a lot of people forget about. They just leave the pencil lines there, and then when they color it, you see the pencil lines, and it just doesn't look as nice. So I'm just going to take a couple minutes. I know it's extra work, but hard work pays off. Alright. Got to get all the eraser boogers off of there. Alright. Now, I'm going to take my marker out, and I'm going to go ahead and add some colors to this. Now, as you're coloring, you might want to think about your colors. See, the koi fish, like I said, they're bred for their colors. Right? They're bred for their colors. You know, they'll take so they try to get, over the years they've developed certain color patterns in some of these koi, and some koi are just orange and white. That's it. They just have like orange and white. And orange, that orange color has come to represent something in Japan. And so like all these different colors on the koi fish, they actually all represent different characteristics in people. And when people collect the fish, or when they buy the fish, they buy a fish that has characteristics that they desire in themselves. So like I know, for example, the orange fish, like the one that's just orange and white, that fish is supposed to represent like good fortune in your career. So a lot of business owners you'll see will have koi that have just orange and white on them. Now there's this other really cool story about the golden koi in Japan, and they tell this story. It's about a school of golden koi. So golden koi that were swimming up this river. And see, this story they tell to their children, and it's just one of those stories that goes around in their culture, and they tell it to their kids. It's just, it's passed on from generation to generation. But anyways, the story is about the school of koi that were swimming up this river. And this river was really long, and it was really windy, and it had rapids, and it had rocks, and it had obstacles, and this was a very treacherous river. And treacherous means like a very very dangerous river, I guess you could say, or it could be scary at times. And at the very top of this river, at the very mouth of the river, was a waterfall. And at the very top of the waterfall, there was this golden gate. And these fish were told that if they swam all the way up this river, this treacherous, scary, sometimes impossible river, and they were able to swim all the way to the top of the waterfall, they could enter through the golden gate and turn into a golden dragon. Now, you can imagine, not every fish is going to make it to that golden gate. Not everyone is going to keep pushing through and keep working hard and never giving up. And not every person, not every koi fish is able to do that. But the ones that really try hard eventually make it to that golden gate. And it's kind of that's the moral of the story, just to never give up, to always keep pushing. You guys ever seen that movie Finding Nemo? There's that fish on there named Dory. What does she say? Just keep swimming, right? Very good advice. So I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to put some other colors on here too. But you can go ahead and add a little bit of orange or whatever color you're doing to your fins too. And I'm going to go ahead and put another color on here. Actually, mine's going to have like a little spot here of orange. And then I'm going to take, I think I'm going to do a little bit of red. And you might have just heard Mr. Kramer's dog right there. Her name is Leah, and she saw a mail truck. So she likes to bark really loudly anytime a mail truck comes by. So if you heard that, that was Leah. All right. Now, I could call this finished, but I want to add a little bit of color around my fish. You could do all sorts of things around your fish. You could do whatever. You could do waves, you could do seaweed, you could do other fish. You could do whatever. But I'm going to go ahead and, actually, you know what I'm going to do before I do that? I'm going to go ahead and just do a couple of Japanese words here. I'm going to go ahead and write a few Japanese words. And I went ahead and found a few here. Where are they at? Let me grab them. So the first symbol that I'm going to do, and I'm just going to do this with a marker. You could do this with a pencil first and then outline. I'm going to do this symbol. And this symbol, it kind of looks like a big A. That represents, and that stands for the sun. And then I'm going to draw a symbol here. And that represents, I can't find my sheet here. I think that one's wave. But a fun extension that you can do with this project, you can actually go online and you can look for some different Japanese websites where you can just type in, like, go to Google Translate, or go to Google and type in Japanese kanji, and you'll find all sorts of words out there. You'll find words for fire and rain and horse and all sorts of cool words. So that's an extension that you can add to this. The other thing that you could do is, if you're interested in the colors, I'm going to go ahead and add a little color to my background here. I'm going to add like some water around here. The other thing that you can do is you can research the colors and the meanings in koi fish. And then maybe you can even look a little bit into, like, if you're into science, you can look into like the genetic and the breeding of them, and like how they take different koi and the different patterns and the colors of the koi, and they bring them together, and like they take the ones that have just a little bit of red and breed those with just the ones that have just a little bit of red on it, and they learn how to change the genetics in such a way, in kind of a, in a way. There's also, they have competitions every year for the largest koi or the most beautiful koi. Some of these koi get up to like 11, 12 years old. They get to be very, very old. So go ahead and finish up your koi and add some color to it. And like I said, you can look into the story of the koi a little bit more. You can look into some more of the more of the different things about the koi. It's a very, very interesting animal. So I hope you enjoyed this brand new resource. I will see you next time.